Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you and published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment on this article, and don't forget to hit the notifications bell. This week's article is From the Pages of Amicus Illuminismi, Illuminating Masonic Initiation with Light from the Recent Past, by Brother Jonathan R. Corbett, Master Mason, and John M. Bozeman, read by Brother Matt Bowers, 32nd Degree, and comes from the March-April 2026 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. The Holy Bible, the great light of Masonry, is not so called as mere poetic language. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Rabbi Akiba declared that the Torah was more than black ink on white parchment, but rather that its words were black fire on white fire. That is to say, the Word of God, which comes to illumine our lives, is another instance where the primordial light was brought into the affairs of men. Rabbi Eric A. Silver, 32nd Degree, A Midrashic Inquiry into More Light, The New Age Magazine, July 1986, page 28. Blessed is the man who seeks and asks, his petition heard and passed, to be admitted into this sacred place. A man of sound judgment, strict morals, upright conduct, and good report, he may ask to receive entry into the ancient and revered order of Freemasonry, now in the tercentennial era of its revival. Motivated by a desire to reach enlightenment, the Mason seeks the divine light and understanding. Our intention here, drawing from the Jewish tradition and then working outwards, is to see how light has been understood in the pages of the Scottish Rite's New Age magazine, particularly in the 1980s, in regard to the ceremony of Masonic initiation. The candidate's journey begins with this arrival at the doors of King Solomon's temple. Initially in a state of personal and spiritual unknowingness, the candidate humbly approaches the doors. Cautiously, he steps forward, leaving his present place amid a world of darkness to commence a journey of discovery within. With eyes no longer perceiving physical light, but guided by the inner light of the soul and the divine light above, he sets out on a wondrous and time-honored voyage. After a time, months, in some cases even years, of careful thought and consideration, the candidate, now prepared in his heart, transcends the darkness of the material realm and moves towards the light of the spiritual world, with the aid of the Supreme Governor of the universe. This transition is wonderfully described by Rabbi Eric A. Silver, 32nd Degree, in his article, A Midrashic Inquiry into More Light, found in the July 1986 edition of the New Age magazine, the precursor to the current Scottish Rite Journal. Rabbi Silver writes of a puzzle found in the first chapter of Genesis. Light is created on the first day of creation, yet the sun and moon and stars were not created until the fourth day. How could this situation exist? The rabbi explains, the first light is not the physical light of day, but rather the primordial light of the divine that illuminates not the eye, but rather our hearts and minds. Indeed, this is the primordial light shone upon Moses as he saw a bush burning in the desert with a fire that did not consume it. This is the light of which we speak during initiation, not the natural light of the sun, moon, and stars, but rather that light which comes from the three great lights of Masonry. Brother Louis H. Berkowitz, 32nd Degree, describes this admirably in Light, which appeared in the October 1982 issue of The New Age. Brother Berkowitz reminds us that the three great lights, the Holy Scriptures, the square, and the compasses, illuminate our spiritual eyes, providing us with mental and moral illumination. This mental and moral clarity benefits not only the newly initiated brother personally, but also the world in general, as the Mason's daily contact with surrounding world helps spread light to all who surround him, beckoning all mankind to a better way of life. Interestingly, the nature of this illumination varies with context. Brother Maynard C. Pless, 32nd Degree, in the Light That Does Not Fail, The New Age, July 1986, views this light as a warm and welcoming glow, as if to say, "Come on in, tired and lonely brother. Welcome to our temple filled with fellowship, fraternity, and brotherly love. Yet this light has its dramatic side, especially when encountered by the new Mason. Rabbi Silver, whom we met earlier, frames this aspect well. When a new Mason perceives the three great lights of Masonry on the altar, he is introduced to divine writ as transcending words. He comes to understand it as the light which illuminated the universe in those first awesome moments. He sees the light, and indeed hears it as a thunderclap. In like manner, the sages continue. The inspiration of which King David used to compose his psalms was the light which God granted him. David saw the light and burst into song, and we, 3,000 years later, still sing his verse. In truth, Masonry includes both elements. Masonic initiation embraces the dramatic encounter with the primordial light, the moral and intellectual illumination embodied in the Holy Scriptures, the square and the compasses. This encounter can easily be shocking as moving from a dark room into full light. However, Masonry also contains the light of steadfastness, the illumination that comes from persistent inquiry over extended periods of time, long-term fellowship, and patience with one's associates, both Masonic and non-Masonic. Both forms of light, as Brother Louis Berkowitz points out, create for all mankind a better way of life.